daily soccer podcast with the Global Sports Podcast Network.
Hello and welcome back to the Daily Southampton, part of the Global Sports Podcast Network. My name is Greg Elliott, and as always today joined by my good friend and wonderful co-host, Zachingo Finch. Mate, another win, can you believe it?
It got dicey, to be fair. Like it wasn't as clear cut and as easy as I would have liked it to have been, especially considering they completely ruined your prediction of a clean sheet and managed to ruin my prediction of 3-1.
Yeah.
But a win is a win.
They in the second half, didn't they, West Brom? And we sure didn't.
Well, we'll get into that, but again, like 3 really quick fire goals, right? Cienza getting a goal in front of home fans finally. Really good, well taken goal, massively, helped out by Tom Fellows, especially where I was very skeptical he would be able to perform against his childhood team, and you were like, it's poetry though, and I was like, which poetry does it go? And you just happened to be right this time.
You learn exactly what kind of poetry it was in the first minute when he got absolutely destroyed by one of the West Brom players, just absolutely kicked. It's it's going to be that kind of poetry.
Yeah, but it worked out well for us. It was such a good team goal, and it's just a joy to watch Cienza play football. I'm sorry. I don't like the fact that we bang on about this every week, but he also doesn't help himself by being good every week.
He also came out after the game and said he would clean Tom Fellows' boots because of how good of an assist it was.
To be fair, it's all of the team working together, right, to be able to facilitate that. It's just the only thing we really need to work on is game management. But considering we still won the game, it's not too much of a problem, I guess. There was 3 saves in a row from Baz towards the end, which
the theory I'm going with and working with, Zach, is that we needed to keep it exciting and can't just keep winning easily because otherwise we wouldn't get the Sky Sports money, you see?
Right, so you're hoping it's going to increase the amount of games we get on TV. I see.
Yeah, it's just a deliberate play to try and up the budget for next season.
That does seem like a thing Sports Republic would be interested in. I'm not going to lie. However, I don't think that you want to put that much stress on players that mental fragility up to this point has been a problem. Upsetting for Zaz to not get a goal today. What's going on?
I know. I mean, at one point, I genuinely, and with full tongue-in-cheek, as the crowd went quiet and we set up for a goal kick in front of the Northern, shouted, "Come on, lads, it's been 10 minutes and we haven't scored. What's going on?"
God, I understand that the Championship's supposed to be night and day in comparison to the Premier League, right? And, it's a tough league, but realistically, we're supposed to come down, and because we're ex-Premier League, wipe the floor with the money. We haven't done that so far this season, but man, are they trying to make up for it a little bit this sort of last couple of weeks? And it really was sort of remembering, hey West Brom, do you remember the last time you played here? And poor West Brom being fuming at having Adam Armstrong, who couldn't score 2 goals the whole of them last season, and scored against them twice in the same day. Always seems to do well against them anyway. Subsequently, it's man, it's just the fact that we can make those jokes, and I know that I keep banging on about this point every day, but it's the fact that the switch that's happened, right? The idea of 6 wins out of 7 is just absolutely beyond what would have been my comprehension. And even the loss that we had to Millwall was still had 2 goals scored from us in, right? Where usually when we lose, we're massively press the red button and capitulate and surrender. So, no, man, it's wild. But I guess we will talk more about. Do you want to start at the start? Line up.
Sure.
Somebody predicted Quasi might be in, mate. And that person's me. And sometimes I actually get the football decisions right. crazy.
And it was, he came in and he did well. He did his job. And I mean, at least in the first, I'd say, 50, 55 minutes of the game, we did a tremendously good job at keeping them quiet.
Yeah, we just got well too complacent and genuinely, I think that's just part and parcel of, we've definitely won this game. And you can even feel it sort of, the West Brom fans, you said about it in the stadium, right? Being sort of, they knew what was up at that point and were just kind of happy to.
They wanted their elf back. Their elf that they were having banter and chanting with got escorted off the premises by stewards for getting overly leery, and they wanted him back so they could chant him some more.
But that's my point. At that point, they're not really paying much attention to the game and are kind of just happy to put this down as a loss. Instead, what happened was we decided to make it really dramatic towards the end unnecessarily. But other than that, obviously, team sheet showed no surprises. You were right about midfield not really being changed. I'm still surprised Ryan Manning has the gas in the tank at this point to just play non-stop, but fair play to the guy.
He has been in this system with Tonda. It's less important for him to do as much of the running up the wing as the sort of wing back position that we saw him play with Will Still. He's very much he still does the running a fair bit, but it's not as but it's still a consolidate, a really good effort. The engine on the man is clearly running hot, but I mean, it makes sense, right? If it ain't broke, don't fix it. You don't want to mess too much with a winning team. And honestly, that's been one of the biggest differences we've seen between Tonda's style and Will Still, right? Is that Will Still is always tinkering and changing and, not really settled. And we've not really seen that from Tonda. It's just been...
What I thought you meant, mate, was that, under Tonda, we've had a winning team.
Well, that too. Yeah.
So why would you hit the nail on the head straight up, mate? Why would you change a winning team? Whereas under Will Still, we didn't really get the wins we all thought. I don't know, man. I started to believe the naysayers, and I really started to believe the fact that our team wasn't good enough to do what they're currently doing. And I didn't really know if it was the manager or something more. It turns out it was the manager.
It felt, well, I don't know. It was just a couple of clicks away, right? And you said Azaz didn't get on the score sheet tonight, but he did chip in with an assist. Mm-hmm. So it just took all of those. I think it was the main change, right? Is getting all of those players that bring life to the game on the pitch at the same time, instead of worrying too much about fitting players in a formation. Right?
Yeah.
And I mean, you saw it when the subs were made and they came off, that having Cienza, Fellows, Azaz, and Armstrong all on the pitch at the same time is clearly the most important part of our game. Because once we take one of them off, call it complacency or taking your foot off the gas or changing the focus of the game to game management, but we just don't look as good of a team, whatever you want to call it, right?
We'll have the conversation about game management later, mate. But the fact we're even in a position to really have to do game management is insane. But
I mean, pretty early on, I messaged you looks like they're going for a pretty aggressive press with a mostly low block. That'll be a fresh challenge for us. I don't know if we've seen us break that down, and no more than 4 minutes later we had the answer as to how that challenge was going to go. So
yeah, no, exactly that. But also, you were talking about how early on into the first half, you were like, is it too early to bring off Cienza and put on?
The answer was yes,
and the subs and stuff, and obviously that was too early. So
now we know. Yes was the answer. It felt like it was done and dusted, and then it very quickly felt like it wasn't.
Yeah. How do you feel about the subs, where do you think the game really did change? Was it just complacency going into the second half, or was it the changes? Because
Well,
we're
mate,
starting to see similar changes keep taking place.
I've got
We're
very
starting to see similar
compelling
things
thoughts on the
happening.
subs, and I'm going to get to them. But let's first have a little break and hear a message from our partners at BioNeek.
Your body is unique, and Global Sports Podcast Network has partnered with BioNeek, the world's most personalised supplements. BioNeek provide 100% tailor-made supplements designed to deliver precisely what your body needs at exactly the right levels to optimise your health. No guessing. So click the link in the show notes. Use the code GSPN2025 for 40% off your first month's subscription. BioNeek. Don't settle for off-the-shelf solutions made for just anybody. Get what's right for you right now.
Okay, mate, and we are back. I think that taking Cienza and Fellows off, whilst completely understandable with another game to think about this week and 3-0 theoretically being, the game out of reach, it has an impact noticeably on the squad. And now I don't know for sure whether that is entirely. I mean, that's not entirely on the personnel that's coming on, right? Like, the focus of the game at that point has changed, right? The team talk at halftime is very likely to have been, let's see it out and keep a clean sheet. But, Jay Robinson is a good player, but he's not Leo Cienza. And Ryan Fraser is a bundle of energy, but he's not Tom Fellows. So, it's different, and that's fine. It's not as strong.
Is it fine though? Because again, they I understand they're not really meant to be going out of their way to scoring at this point. We're not really worried as much about getting a goal, but it does worry me that the energy drops, and then
I think those substitutions are fine because it is fresh legs in those positions, and the energy does drop a bit, but it's still all right. And then you see
Fraser Archer's fine, right? Because Fraser, as you said, can run fast for who he is, right? And Archer clearly still has a point to prove and played pretty well. But not as exciting as he played last game.
Yeah, I mean, the problem is he's still so desperate to score that he's kind of, instead of sticking to one of those roles like the other players do when they're on the pitch and they sort of know where they're going to go, he's almost trying to do too much. So he's kind of a little bit everywhere all of the time, and that's not really at that point in the game what you're after. But he does, he gives the defender something to worry about, and I think it's fine. But then we get to the later substitutions and we see Azaz come off. And Azaz, especially today, I noticed, Leo and Tom pick up the ball and are happy to take on a player and make some space and go forward and do something with it. Azaz is quite happy to just float around in that area of the pitch that makes it awkward for the centre-backs and the defensive midfielders to know which one's going to pick him up. And just pick the ball up from either Fellows or Cienza and just be the catalyst to let them do their thing. He's just I'll take the ball short and then give you a 1-2 and set you off down the wing. Happy days. And he does that so well. And then, you swap him out for Aribo and, well, I mean, Aribo still just looks like he doesn't want to be here. So,
I mean, it's the one thing that really is throwing me off because, again, we're all watching the same game. We're all seeing the same player on the pitch, right? We've had a couple of discussions about it, and again, used to be hot and cold, but clearly, I don't know if he's really interested in being here. I wouldn't be surprised if he goes for a real cut price at January, but at the same time, he's persistently being played. And when asked about it, Tonda was saying basically he's playing really well. Stop it. And I don't know if he's not wanting to criticise the players yet, or I don't quite understand what's going on. But I have because it's the last couple of games we've been that high up, right? And those last couple of games, we've got away with it, apart from Millwall, where we didn't. And we very, very, very almost didn't today. Like at one point, as I alluded to earlier, Bat make 3 saves in a row. One of those saves that I think that people said was amazing, I do believe was just accidental. He just got punted directly in the chest, right?
That's just good positioning, mate. There's no accidents.
Right. Say what you will. Like I'm not here to criticise him. He did a good job today, but we knew eventually one of those would go in, and it's like that kind of almost not willing to want to pass up, and I don't know if it's. I think I discussed it last game as well. Where like it's just unfortunate Aribo keeps being brought on with Romeo as well. So I'm kind of like the energy change is obvious, right?
Yeah.
And the 6 minutes that became 8 minutes felt a lot longer than they needed to be, and it was a painful end to a game. Very, very, very much almost let them get back into it properly. And like they could have easily gone on to draw. I don't think they would have gone on to win. But, that would have been one of those last minute, 97-minute, credit to the lads for actually not letting that happen, because that's a very, very safe thing to do, even if it was some real desperate defending at times, right? A couple of times it was just literally hoofing the ball out to a team that, not 30, 40 minutes ago, we were running them ragged. So, I just worry about this part of the game.
At St Mary's, I've ever seen a player get criticised for taking a shot when Jay Robertson decided to shoot instead of running to the corner flag, with all of us frantically shouting, "Over there!"
I think to be fair, he was probably hoping it would be the last kick of the game, because again, when you say 6 minutes at a time, it goes on for 8. It's always annoying, and that goes both ways. Like I always find it a bit weird that they can't seem to figure it out, and it's not like anybody came on past the 90th, so don't really know where it came from, to be honest. There were no cards at extra time either. Obviously, Romeo somehow managed to pick up a yellow, replacing the Flynn Downs role. But yeah, it is what it is. Like again, the fact that we can be so critical about these really, really minute details shows you how far we've come in the last couple of weeks. And yeah, that's just it's nice to have these problems. Like, oh man, we're winning so much, and the way that we're winning is slightly sad. Whereas, like, we'd have bitten your hand off for like the scrappiest of 1-0 wins last season when we were in the trenches of the Premier League, where we thought surely no team can be as bad as us. And shout out to Wolves for taking that record away from us to soon make us probably the 3rd worst team in the Premier League history. So yeah, I don't know where else to really go with it. Like, it's the fact that we're seeming to be able to consistently do this. I guess it's just everybody hold hands together and hope that none of this front line get injured, because we already saw that one game without Cienza how difficult it was.
Well, that's the thing, right? As well as that, it's problems that can eventually have solutions, right? We can work towards solutions. Like we can start playing for more than 45 minutes at a time. And it's nice.
Well, you just make it 5-0. you take the wind out of all of their sails, right? That way,
right? That's the nice thing. At least we've been in a position to play well enough in those first 45 minutes that it came close, and it was nervy. At least it didn't really matter.
Do you remember when you said we were a second half team for I don't know, about a year solid, and now it's truly the second half is the bit that's the nerve bitey bit, to be honest.
Yeah. Right, mate. Let's finish off with a couple of other points, but let's have another quick break. Hear a message from our partners at Zencastr. Here at the Global Sports Podcast Network, we spent a lot of time selecting our delivery platform, and Zencastr came out the clear winner with 4K video recording from your phone and AI editing that automatically removes all those ums and ahs. It's super easy to start a podcast. It sounds great and is delivered efficiently. If you're ready to tell your story, check out the link in the show description and learn more about Zencastr. All right, mate, and we are back. But I don't know. What do you want to talk about next? What else you got?
I don't know. Like fair play to West Brom. Like I think that potentially, as we said, we got to a point where we underestimated them a little bit, and they clearly came out to play a bit of a game towards the end, and they played well. And then I think maybe that's what it was, is that the mentality that we had to get a bit complacent.
Yeah.
The only thing I worry about long term is that at the moment the solutions we have to our problems are incredibly predictable. We
Yeah.
know that we're going to take off Cienza and fellows sort of at the 60 to 65 minute mark, right? We know we're probably going to take off like a striker at some point, and we know we're going to chuck on at the moment Romeo. That becomes a bit of a different situation when Shea Charles is back, right? Don't know how that's going to play out, but I worry that if you watch the sort of last 2 or 3 games, you can see, Millwall actually beating us because we didn't have Cienza and we weren't able to do the damage that we would have done the first half with him. These later few games, it's more you're watching teams seeing how we're playing, seeing how we're doing, and they're always managing to pull back one goal. You're saying they're really pushing for a clean sheet, and today they've managed to pull back 2. So yeah, it's just finding solutions. And I do wonder if some of those solutions will be found in the January transfer window, because a couple of things
also some of those solutions will come when you're not trying to manage 3 games in 7 days, right? But
we know how busy the Championship is. That is going to be a thing that continually happens, right? It's not going to be.
That's the main reason you're seeing these changes as early as you're seeing them. Whereas otherwise, you'd probably see it much later on in the game, like in the 75th minute, and then it's probably a different conversation completely. But I'm massively distracted that I just saw No Context Saints with one of my favourite posts I've ever seen. It said, "We should sign Mo Salah. Imagine how good our front 3 would be. Cienza, Armstrong, Fellows."
How to bring down your reputation amongst your fans almost immediately and then become a meme by the next day. Okay, mate. A couple of things that you said. Hey, what do you want to talk about? A couple other things. So, Coventry drew tonight against Preston, which is a positive for us. Who had 10 men, and obviously we're going to play them soon. Not now, but soon. It's hopefully they dip in form as we start to go up, right?
Yeah. It's on the horizon as something. It's the next home game. It's in everyone's mind. It's a nice early kickoff. Like, are we going to get absolutely battered here? I don't know. I mean, it's going to be interesting.
Borough did win today, which is less than ideal because obviously if we want that automatic spot, right? And the fact that I can talk about that automatic spot is currently we're 8th, which is less than 5 points off of 5 points off a third.
Yeah, well, we're 4 points behind Millwall, but Millwall have a game in hand.
They do, but that's as of the time of conversation, right?
Yeah.
So if they lose that game, we could potentially nick some waves because obviously Preston played tonight. So obviously we're in a much better position than when we were talking about potentially relegation. The other thing to celebrate is our rivals, our illustrious rivals, the guys down the road, the ones that spent a vast majority of the season mugging us off for being lower than them, are now in the drop zone in 22nd. So, they lost the game tonight. So it's always something to celebrate on top of the fact that we're already celebrating. So, just a couple of things I wanted to raise your attention to. And obviously there's a bunch of games tomorrow too before we know the final results of everything. But everything's swinging in our favour, mate.
Also worth celebrating, mate. Adam Armstrong, currently the top goal scorer in the Championship total.
So this is the other thing, just a quick thing I wanted to end on is, one, thank you to all the people that leave comments on Spotify. We discovered them as of yesterday. Don't know if you've noticed, we've had a couple of changes. We also had some tech issues, which is why we were away for a couple of days. But it literally was like, mate, did you know we have Spotify comments? Greg sent to me, and I was like, sorry? So we've discovered all of them now. So we might be slightly more active. So we appreciate all that. If we've not replied to you for the last year, it's not that we're ignoring you. We just didn't know they existed. So that was one of the things I wanted to bring up, Greg. But also the fact that I think I brought up last recording as well. Like how for so long the conversation was around a striker.
Yeah.
And now it's just like, do we have a good backup for Cienza? And do we have a good... The conversation, the transfer conversations completely changed. And what I think is going to be really interesting, and the reason I bring this up again, is obviously we're heading into January. sooner rather than later. And supposedly, Spores has been in conversation with Tonda, including those lads that accidentally saw them the other day at a steak dinner. But like,
Actually, that was
supposedly,
nice to see Tonda eating somewhere that was not Staplewood, to be honest. I know it was
this is also true. Probably having to be forced out by Spores, but still. But apparently, they've been in conversation non-stop about the plan for recruitment, and the plans were in place long before Will Steele was in. And I think it's going to be really fascinating and interesting to see what we end up targeting, if we target anything at all. Because I think surely we do. I think everyone's kind of realizing now that, and as much as you spoke about it earlier, Greg, but the responsibility that's put on the shoulders of Jay Robinson to basically, for a lot of the early season. And I think the responsibility now for him to kind of cameo after Cienza and maybe, having options there rather than it just always being having to be Jay Robinson, and maybe giving him a bit of time in between and, just to build himself up a little bit more and having those other options. I know we've got a Dozy supposedly back in supposedly, I don't know. We hear he's kind of injured and not, and I don't want to speculate on any of that, but I also wouldn't be surprised if he just disappears in January because he wanted a move. So, yeah, it would be really interesting to see what they target and if they'll go for sort of like those positions, or we bring in like an extra striker that we now don't need. I don't know. How do you feel? Has your opinion on our transfer episode of like literally about 2 weeks ago changed a lot, or not?
No, it's still the same, right? Like, if they stay fit, our front line is not going to be budged by anyone we bring in January,
No.
which puts us in a very tricky position because we do lack that, as evidenced at Millwall. If any of that front four, front three, front four, whatever you want to call it, Fellows, Azaz, Armstrong, and Cienza. If any one of those go out, it is a big miss, and we don't really have. Now, I will say that Cameron Archer has been putting in shifts when he comes on, and I don't think you can judge him having not scored based on coming on at the points of the games he's come on, because at the points of the games he's come on, that's not really our focus. So, it would be interesting to see if he can step up. But it's a really interesting position to be in because you want to sign a player of a quality that can step in to replace that quality, but who's going to want to come and play second fiddle? Nobody of that quality. So it's not an easy problem to solve, is where I'm at.
And especially where, we had a lot more hype around ourselves for Cienza because of just the sheer amount we spent looking in through the glass at the transfer window, right? We kind of hoped that there would be the potential there for what we're seeing, and maybe then some. Like, again, it's just been an absolutely outstanding, and you can see how much he enjoys it, right?
Mm.
And you're right, it's going to be really difficult to maybe find someone that also is like that, also a hidden gem, and also doesn't mind not playing week in, week out. That's where the problem arises.
Because that's the thing, right? It's not just Cienza's ability on the pitch that makes us miss Cienza. It is his infectious attitude, his infectious spirit, his desire to go and win the ball and do things on the pitch that he wants to do. I saw that his celebration this evening was inspired by Ronaldinho. And I mean, look, he just loves the game, loves that we love him.
But yeah, I think that's the other thing is it's like it's the boost to the fans as well. Yeah. It's like, how do you, and that I think is more important than maybe we let on. Maybe we understand. There's no real, I guess, like on paper explanation for it. We could sit and speak to psychologists, but like you're very aware of how, like, it's like when you ever try to speak to non-sport people about why sports is so like exciting and why we get so passionate about it. It's really difficult to kind of portray the emotions, and it's really difficult to put into words the presence of a player like that, right? And not to compare us to Liverpool and compare it to like what you were talking about earlier, but like, it's like Jamie Carragher's criticism of Mo Salah being all about the fact that he's like, oh, he'll play up the fans to get what he wants and pull on the heartstrings and bits and pieces. And I'm like, I don't know, maybe there is a level of emotional manipulation going on, but also in some respects, especially in this, there's no like, it's just like the raw passion and emotion feeds the crowd and it gives back, and it is important to see that, and it is going to be very hard to find a player, because is it part of like the X Factor story that he has that plays into it? Maybe. I don't think everybody knows that story, but I think a lot of people have watched him play football at some areas recently and away, and have realised how good he can be and how just enjoyable it is to watch him play football. Like, I'm pretty sure my wife is completely and utterly sick of me singing Leo Cienza's song non-stop around the house, occasionally switching to the actual Heartbeat theme tune because I forget what I'm singing about. But like it's yeah, I think it's going to be a fascinating window for the simple fact of I don't know if anyone's really going to be satisfied with it because of the fact that you're like, well, we don't really need what we needed, I think, a couple months ago. I don't think we need what people thought we needed a month ago. I don't necessarily believe that we need what we discussed a week and a half ago. Like,
well, that's the thing, Zach, is that none of it is a problem until it becomes a problem.
Yeah, right. This is it. Like, it's a house of cards that can be collapsed by injury, and again, like the pessimist worries about it.
It's like bloated squad as well, like we've talked about, right? Like we've got players on the fringe or not in, like, or injured, right? We've got Shea Charles coming back, and how does the competition for that space look when he comes back?
People on loan that we haven't even talked about, mate.
Yeah, we've got, Edozie supposedly coming back soon, which is another forward option, another good forward option. We got Cam Archer who's coming on and putting shifts in. Damien Downs is still, he's presumably still injured with a knock, but, there's some potential in there at some point, hopefully, to come good. Are we going to see Ross Stewart again? I don't know at this point. He's out long term. I don't know if he's just out for the rest of his contract now. But, that's already a lot.
Yeah, and again, like the amount of loanees we've got, like Charlie Taylor is still on our books, technically. Like, I know that's a wild thing to point out because, like, I haven't thought about him until we played West Brom today. We've also got, like, even defenders. We've got, like, Joaquim Kaya Sander that's on loan. And you talk about bloated squad. There are also people we started promoting through the youth. You've got Matsuki, who at this point just send him on loan, like, to get him some football, even if it's back to Gastepi, because it just kind of feels like at the moment it's taking up a squad space that he's not going to get the football, especially if they bring some more people in. And then you've got, like, this whole question mark around Joe Aribo, whether are we keeping him, are we selling him, what's happening with him? Kind of weird we keep playing him. Is it because he doesn't trust anyone else other than him because of the seniority and sort of he knows what he needs to do even if we don't see it? I don't know. I guess all of these criticisms take with a pinch of salt because me and you aren't football managers, mate. Honda Eckert is. Everyone said he had no experience, and we've just won 6 games in 7. So, like, maybe all of the things that we're worrying about and whinging we should not worry about them and just enjoy the moment, because we don't know how long this moment's going to last, but hopefully a little bit longer yet, right?
Yeah, well, look, they come thick and fast. We've got another game at the weekend, and hopefully we can win that too and just really push on and just, start pushing for that second place that we want to see. And, if that's what we're aiming for and that's what we want, then that needs to be the case. And we need to, shore up these second half performances, which, surely won't have gone amiss from Tonda. He will be seeing that and, his attention to detail, so he'll be looking to rectify it. So just have to wait and see, mate, what may come. But it's nice to be excited by it and not dreading it, isn't it?
Yes, I agree. And, like, we could look at sort of the Norwich game as a bit of a banana skin, but that's not how we're viewing it, right? I'm pretty sure both me and you at this point are looking forward to it, and I can't wait to predict, like, another 3-1, and oh no, it's 3-2. We still won. Yeah. The fact that we keep predicting wins is just long may it continue. And
3-2 may have felt towards the end very scary, but the important 3 was another 3 points, another climbing up the table.
Oh, that was a good line, mate. Even this late in the day, look at him, still a wordsmith.
That's it. Right. Well, that seems like as good as it's going to get from us this evening, so we better call it there. Zach, thank you very much for joining me for another chaotic late night recording. Thank you, everybody, for listening. Thank you for all of your comments and all of your tweets. We love seeing them. Let us know your thoughts. Feeling good? Still recovering from the nerves of the second half? Let us know in the comments, which we can see now on the socials everywhere. We're on X, Blue Sky, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, absolutely everywhere. Hit us up. Let us know. We love hearing from you. We will be back tomorrow to talk more about Saints. But until then, everyone, have a wonderful day, and we'll see you then.
Your daily soccer podcast with the Global Sports Podcast Network.